What is good, Vape fam? This is Joe of All Vapes coming at you very late night in the vape cave tonight. I am all alone, surrounded by one sleepy dog, cats, and a bunch of vape juice. So we're going to do this together tonight. We've got basically hours to be able to chill with y'all, and we're going to be talking about some good quality flavored vapes coming up. So all of you guys, if you've ever heard of any kind of e-juice, have heard of Suicide Bunny. I've got a big fat poster right here on my vape wall of all the lines of Suicide Bunny. They were cool enough some time ago to send me all three of their very famous, very well-known lines. We're talking the Cloud Company, obviously the Suicide Bunny, their namesake, and King's Crown e-liquid. And the King's Crown is what we're going to be talking about today. So in those three lines, it is very, very unique flavor bases that they use. And, you know, sometimes they kind of keep things a little bit in the norm, just in that little safety bubble, you know what I'm saying? But the one thing that I love about the Suicide Bunny is that this is a company that is incredibly renowned for thinking way outside the box. But the one thing that I love about that is that even though they're kind of going outside the box, they still seem to bring everything in kind of this nice little comfortable, warm, fuzzy area that we're all familiar with and we all love to just stay inside, keeps us nice and warm and cozy. And I'll kind of get to, you know, the eccentricities of what it is that I'm talking about. My brain is just going a million miles an hour tonight. I should never drink coffee late at night when I'm doing reviews, but we're going to rock and roll this and we're going to get through this tonight. So what I want to discuss first of all is the artwork on all four of these bottles. Now, I don't know whether the artwork was individually commissioned for this specific line or not, or they just dug them out into the history books of, you know, of the world or something like that. But each and every one of these have a very unique line of artwork on the labeling. Very, very high quality. As you can see, you got the name on the side. This one is called Claim Your Throne. The next one is called The King, and that is very Sphinx-like right there. Very high quality, glossy labels. The next one is Bound by the Crown, and this one is one of my favorite in pieces of artwork. I really, really dig that. Get little chains surrounding the guy's wrist right there. And the last but not least is Fight Your Fate. This one is probably my favorite in terms of artwork out of the four. As you see in the background here, you got some guy just in some deep, dark dungeon, all chained up and bound. He knows he's going to the gallows or he's going to be beaten, drawn, and quartered, and burned alive. You know, who knows? Looks a little bit archaic going on in the background here, but kind of makes you wonder, where's the story behind this going? You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of these flavors, pick them apart as per usual, discuss the individual bases of all the flavors and the notes and all the happy stuff that Suicide Bunny is very renowned for coming out with as far as quality in vapor brands and profiles. So let's do this. Now, the first one is Fight Your Fate. This is one that I had here. This one is touted as lemons and ripe strawberries. And I've kind of shortened down the description. If you go onto their website, you're going to see a little bit longer of a description of, you know, narrative for your pleasure, but kind of want to keep things as pithy as possible. Now, the first thing that I noticed about this flavor, and each and every one of these flavors, what I'll do is kind of go through a process. First of all, I'll unscrew it and I'll get a smell for it, you know, and just kind of pick up the bouquet and the notes. And the first thing that I noticed by doing that was that this one is incredibly well blended. Typically on a lot of, you know, you just go to the store and you buy yourself some raspberry lemonade or strawberry lemonade. The first thing you're tasting is either an overbearing, intense flavor of lemon, or you're tasting the strawberry or the raspberry first hit, you know what I'm saying? And then the lemon is kind of weak and undertoned, you know, and just kind of sitting and chilling there, doesn't know what it's doing. But this one was very, very well blended. It's an even mixology of both flavors. And I could tell that immediately because what I did after that was I put a little drop on my tongue. I don't know if a lot of reviewers do that. I don't know if a lot of vapors do that, but I do that because I like to get a really good flavor profile, just a really good overall experience of every e-juice that I vape. At least one drop, and kind of like a sommelier when they're taking a brand new red wine and they're airing it out and then they just, you know, just kind of let a little bit of air work around in their mouth. Just get a really nice feel, taste for the vapors of exactly what's going on in the bouquet and the notes and undertones and everything like this, you know, that's coming at first and on the back end and all that kind of good stuff. Excellent blend and mixology with this particular flavor, especially when I vaped it. It was so light and airy. even though it was a binary blend, everything was even on the inhale and the exhale. Not one was stronger than the other. And it was a really, really super refreshing vape. This is going to kick it out for a lot of those fruit vapors out there. It's not decadent, it's not tart, overly massively sour or anything like that, but it's an even blend of both sweet and sour. Gives you a really solid, good quality mixture. This would be great for those hot days in the spring, just boiling into summer. Really, really good palate cleanser. I think you guys are going to love this. I don't particularly know actually what the VG to PG ratio on this is. I'd go as far as to say like a 60-40 to a 70-30. Anything within around that range is probably pretty solid. You can see you got the little bubble in there. It does look a little viscous, but probably not as much as an, a 70. A lot of the higher VG ratios, I should say, look. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know specifically. You go onto the website and you can check that out for yourself. That's going to be the suicidebunny.net/kings/crown. And that's going to take you directly to where you can check out the full description on every one of these flavors. So that one was Fight Your Fate. The next flavor that we're going to go and discuss here is going to be Bound by the Crown. And that's that little floating crown with little chained up hands right there. Interesting story behind that one, I'm sure. They should put little booklets and just little fake stories that you can read with each one of these flavors. I think that would be really cool. Just add a little bit of personal narrative into the line here. You know what I'm saying? But Bound by the Crown is touted as a sweet custard spice with stone fruit, which is interesting. I have tasted stone fruit. It's been years and years and years. And back, the back of my head and my culinary background when I went to school and I tried all kinds of exotic fruits. Stone fruit has a very unique flavor all on its own. It's sort of melony, sort of sweet, sort of exotic, sort of tropical, but kind of earthy in its flavor. It's sort of, it's like nothing I've ever tasted before. And I'm sure it's like not like a lot of anything you've ever tasted before. But like I said, you open it up, you take a little sniff, and you definitely, the first thing that hits me is the spice. Custard kind of comes in second, but the stone fruit sort of surrounds everything in this neat little bubble of kind of a sweet, tangy, but earthy, kind of a baseline fruity taste. And that's really the best way to describe stone fruit, is exotic and fruity. And I know fruity pretty much takes care of a lot of fruit-flavored candies or confections or something like that, some fruity drinks, especially like fruity energy drinks or fruity sodas. If it's a fruit punch, you don't necessarily know every fruit that goes into it, and stone fruit sort of falls into that category that it is fruity tasting. So in that manner, you're going to find it, it resembles, certain other fruit flavors, but it is very unique and, singular in itself. Basically, if you ever get the chance to try a stone fruit, buy one, try it. I think you guys are going to like it. It's a totally different flavor combination, but you're talking with a spicy custard. So custard in itself is very deep, very rich, very thick, very decadent. But on top of that, you've got the spices. The first thing I was tasting, maybe a little bit of star anise, maybe even like some cinnamon, maybe even a little cardamom in there or something like that. It's very, very deep and very rich and decadent. Has a bit of a holiday-ish flavor, but the stone fruit brings it out of that category and kind of puts it in a category all its own. A little bit picnicky, something light and refreshing at the same time being kind of desserty. So this is going to be a wide spectrum vapor for a lot of individuals. I'm a dessert fan, but I do love something a little bit on the sweeter side every now and then, just as a palate cleanser. This is kind of confusing to my tongue because it was a little bit of both. Very, very unique blend, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about how Suicide Bunny thinks outside the box, but still brings it kind of in this nice, comfortable little zone for you to enjoy, because it brings you something that is kind of familiar and reminiscent of stuff that you've tried before and you really, really like. So that one was a really tasty and a really fun experience for me. So the next one we're talking about is Claim the Throne, and this one is a sweet cream, butterscotch, and brown sugar. You can't really get any more decadent and rich and amazingly dessert fashion than that, let me tell you. 3 flavors going on here. And the first one that I tasted at first vape and first drop on my tongue was definitely the sweet cream. I don't know why, because the sweet cream ended up being just a little bit behind and far of vaping. Now, like I said, there's a difference between tasting it on your tongue, vaping it, and smelling it. Subtle similarities, obviously, between the three because your olfactory senses are kind of attached to everything else going on in there. But you're still going to have different experiences, kind of like you do when you sub-ohm something and you drip something. Most of the time, dripping something is going to make a warmer vape, and that's going to intensify the flavor. But this stuff was good one way or the other. I tried it both ways, and I can't really tell too much of a difference in the quality of the flavor, whether I dripped it or sub-ohmed it, so I just kept sub-ohming it. It's still a pretty warm vape, especially with the devices that I use are pretty high-powered. This one was, you know, my typical tertiary vape, if you will. I'm using my own vernacular here. Like I said, the sweet cream came first, but the sweet cream was very, very light. It definitely wasn't the predominant flavor out of this mixture. The butterscotch was fairly solid, but once again, not the strongest flavor. The brown sugar actually being this ended up being the strongest flavor out of this blend between all three of these. So you taste the sweet cream first. The brown sugar sort of enraptures everything around, and then the butterscotch kind of comes in second from the sweet cream, but sort of sandwiched right in the middle. So on the inhale, I got a little bit of that sweet cream with just a touch of the butterscotch, and on the exhale, immediately that brown sugar with just a little bit more butterscotch with an after effect, just an aftertaste of a sweet cream, just kind of subtle, rich, and sitting on my tongue, waiting for me to vape more. It was a very, very light, very decadent and rich vape, but sort of just really pleasurable. It was just leaving something to be desired and keep on vaping. It was really, really tasty. You know, I think that's going to be kind of an all-day vape across the board for most people, especially for me. This is a very, very rich vape, very earthy, very deep, very, very rich. For those of you, I don't know if I can emphasize that enough. It was very, very rich. You know, sometimes there are some flavors in the dessert area that are a little bit intense, even for me. This one, actually, I really, really enjoyed. One thing I will say is that with flavors that deep, you're probably going to want to switch it up just a little bit after you get done vaping, though this was zero nicotine, and pretty much all it was pure flavor for me. The nicotine for me tends to add just a little bit of an intensity on some flavors, like I've said before in the past, and this one was just really, really clean and really fresh as far as the quality of the flavors were concerned. So that one was a really solid one. And the king is last but definitely not least. Got a little king tut action going on right there. So the king is a very unique flavor. If you go onto the website, and once again, that's suicidebunny.net/kings/crown, you're going to see the full description in all its glory on the king. And this one is basically touted as a mystery. That's right. On the website, they don't even really tell you what this is. They spout that, you know, it's got some pretty vernacular going on in there about, you know, everybody kind of finds something a little bit different. But the one theme that I've noticed about a lot of the Suicide Bunny's flavors is that they are all kind of dessert based. There's a lot of creams and a lot of sugars and a lot of custards going on with some additives going on in there, which makes the Suicide Bunny absolutely one of my favorite. I could kiss these guys for making it 3 entire lines basically just for Joe of all vapes. You know, I wish, what can I say? But I digress. This one was incredibly unique. Total mystery for me. They might as well just put a big fat question mark right in the description for this. Here's the cool thing about that, though, is that when they leave something to that much question, they're basically forcing us, they're pigeonholing us into a corner and saying, we want you to figure out what's going on in here because we have fun making this vape. We push some passion and some interest into coming out with something totally new and unique and different, and we want to see what you guys think about it. We want your feedback, and basically whatever you want it to be is what it's going to be. We're just going to give it a name and a pretty label, and that's exactly what they did. So I'm going to tell you personally what I got out of this. You guys might find something completely and totally different, but here's what I got. First vape, I tasted white chocolate. Now, I have never tasted a white chocolate vape. Maybe I have now. I don't know. But I'm just going to insinuate that this is a white chocolate vape because that's what I tasted. One good way to be able to kind of really discern a flavor from a vape that I've come up with is what you do is, yeah, you can try the dripper method on the tongue like I suggested and then vaping it and smelling it and all that good stuff. But taste it in whatever way you want to taste it, either drip it on your tongue or vape it or what have you, and then kind of close your eyes and, you know, do it a couple times maybe on the tongue and just kind of, you know, really get a memory going or something that you know, deep in the recesses of your mind, it might remind you of something. And this is the kick. The first thing this reminded me of were those white chocolate hollow bunnies you used to get in the Easter baskets when you were a kid. If you're lucky like me and spoiled, you still get them because my mom still thinks I'm her little boy. You know, hey, I reap the benefits. I love Easter baskets, sue me. But anyways, that's exactly what this reminded me of, were those white chocolate Easter bunnies when I was a kid. Kind of that creamy, milky, it's totally not like actual chocolate, but that vanilla taste in it with just a very sweet, creamy subtlety to it. It was really, really flavorful. Obviously, the cream was kind of a second flavor that I got in there, and sugar was, you know, basically kind of a third base flavor. But I know that there's more going on in there than just that. But that's pretty much at first glance what I was picking up. It's not very spicy, if anything at all. It's very, very different and unique than anything I have tried before. And even now, maybe even just that vanilla flavor, the scent just really, really comes through. Very creamy, very vanilla, which almost reminds me of kind of like a deep, rich white cake too. It's really, really tasty. I think you're really going to like the King. It's going to give you something very unique to shoot for. You know, and it's just so much more fun to be able to come up with something very unique. I mean, it's the blind, you know, the blindfold vape test in a sense, you know what I'm saying? But trust me, spending money on this guy is going to be absolutely worth your while. So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to bring everything to a nice tight little package here. Once again, the Suicide Bunny has made 3 incredible lines. That takes care of 2 out of their 3. The Cloud Company is still another line, which I have, and I'm going to be getting to as soon as I can get my lazy butt around to doing it, you know what I'm saying? But I've got so many flavors, and I'm trying to keep up and bust out one review, you know, basically a day. But King's Crown is definitely one of the highest quality premium e-liquids that I have ever tasted. Suicide Bunny has really, really put an intense amount of passion, work, I mean, into the artwork alone. This is really, really intense artwork, but the flavors are absolutely out of sight. The quality behind what it is that they've done here is absolutely amazing. And to be able to not only come up with 3 lines with individual flavor profiles for each one of those, but the quality and the premium, you know, just passion and unique flavors and outside the box while keeping things still familiar and happy. I really have a lot of respect for this company, and I appreciate up to no end that they have supported Joe of All Vapes in the way that they did. So Suicide Bunny, thank you so much for hooking me up with another one of your amazing lines to share with the rest of my vape fam here. And if you guys really dug this review, stay tuned because I've still got the Cloud Company from the Suicide Bunny to review. I've got a ton of different e-juice reviews. I've got some great boss mod reviews coming up. This is still in April of 2016, but it's the extension of my March mod madness. I've got more mods coming out basically throughout the year, and you know, a giveaway on my Instagram account, Joe of All Vapes _2, one giveaway going on every single month. I've got so much stuff going on in my social media. It's just, you know, I don't have I'm going to have to take some vacation times from work, you know what I'm saying, just to cover everything that I've got going on. But definitely stay tuned. Keep watch on my Instagram account. I've got for the month of May 2016, I've got one, not 2, but 3 massive giveaways for the entire month of May. This is going to be rock solid, and I've almost hit 10,000 followers on my Instagram account. That is going to spur on a 10,000 follower giveaway. It is going to be the biggest giveaway I've ever done. Definitely stay tuned for that. I'm going to be having some awesome discount codes available strictly for my YouTube audience right here, just to show a little bit of appreciation from my subscribers. So I want to bring all this to a close. Thank you very much for tuning in on this very non-lazy Saturday night at the Vape Cave here. Love yourselves, love each other, get some sleep, vape good juice, and above all, you keep it cloudy.